Hey, Guy Powell here, and welcome to the next episode of the Backstory on Marketing and AI. If you haven't already done so, please visit prorelevant.com and sign up for all of these episodes and podcasts. So, I am the author of the newly released book, The Post-COVID Marketing Machine: Prepare Your Team to Win. And you can find out more information on this book at marketingmachine.prorelevant.com. Today, the big question on the minds of CMOs and entrepreneurs in the C-suite is how will AI impact their activities in the company, but more importantly for marketers in digital? Well, let's see if we can help you out today. Businesses are certainly learning more and more about how to take advantage of AI and really build creative solutions. I know today I use ChatGPT myself just to give me the ideas, and then those ideas sometimes are so good I just go with it almost sometimes word for word, most times not, but really pretty much. Today we're interviewing Peter Gerges. He is with Swift Press Support, and he is a definitely a seasoned digital expert and is one of the driving forces behind the company called Swift Press Support. They are a game-changing venture offering unparalleled technical support to WordPress website owners. And that's a whole bunch of W's. So I don't know. But in any case, with a rich history as the founder of Grace Digital Solutions, Peter has a proven track record in crafting exceptional websites for diverse clientele, from businesses and definitely down to even personal brands. And one thing that's so important in business is the commitment to excellence, and that is definitely where Peter is in terms of being able to have the ability to communicate intricate technical details to non-tech savvy clients. And that is a problem whether you're a small business, an individual, or even a Fortune 100. So Peter, welcome. So good to have you.
Oh, thank you so much, guys. Such a pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, fantastic. So, what is your backstory on AI and digital? How did you get involved in all of this fun stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So, being creating websites and apps for our clients, really I'm on the cutting edge of technology. So I always have to stay up to date to keep ourselves relevant and knowledgeable about these tools. And I'm gonna say, yeah, I probably about 18 months ago to 2 years ago is kind of when ChatGPT came out. And I think they were like, the main driving force that kind of took things to the next level. And ever since, I just been started using AI, and I was just like, wow, this is amazing. And it's really been a game changer in our industry, creating websites for clients, because that's always been a problem, not knowing or taking such a long time to be able to create the text and copy for websites. But now what used to take us days, we can probably do in just a few minutes, and it's been such a game changer. So that's a little bit more about the history of how I got into AI and became interested in it.
Yeah, so and tell us about Swift Press Support.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for Swift Press Support. Uh, we build websites and apps for small business owners that don't break the bank. So we found that small business owners really have a need to have somebody, an expert, to create websites and apps for them. But unfortunately, they're not able to get the services that they need, just because typically it's a little bit on the higher pricer point, but we're able to serve that market and create what they need. And I love website design and creating apps for small business owners. So that's a little bit more about what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the core tools for small business, but even medium-sized business, and even larger businesses that need to create a special website in the short term, maybe a little less functional in terms of having some really cool back-end stuff, but certainly as a functioning website with some pretty good user interface is WordPress. And so, how has AI been shaping the future of WordPress?
Yeah, AI has been absolutely revolutionizing the world of WordPress. That's because I don't know if you know the statistic, Guy, but WordPress is the #1 website building platform in the world, and there's approximately 2 billion websites on the internet,
Hmm.
of which approximately 840 million of them are built on WordPress. And the next runner-ups are way much less than WordPress. And so WordPress has had this huge ecosystem where there's been so many different companies who've been able to build multi-million-dollar companies just creating software around WordPress for websites, and it's been such a phenomenal tool. And with the invention of AI, and it's definitely been changing the world of WordPress dramatically, because even you're going to find, I think even the White House website is even built on WordPress, and a lot of different websites, even medium-sized and large-sized businesses, are built on WordPress. And so now with AI entering in, you're able to use tools that can create images very quickly. What you would need to hire like a graphic artist to do and pay them, quite a bit of money maybe to do some custom work. Well, hey, you know what? You can have AI create for you on the fly in just a matter of minutes. And hey, if you don't like that background or you don't like a certain part of that image, you don't have to go back and forth with your designer anymore. You can just tell the prompt, and tell AI what to do and change that little part, and outcomes exactly the way that you like it, and you have no attitudes about it, nobody getting their feelings hurt when the design doesn't come out right, and you ought to tell them like, oh no, this is terrible. So that's one of the best things about AI, is that it doesn't get its feelings hurt, and that's definitely something that is wonderful. And we've also seen it change the copywriting. So as you alluded earlier on today, is that you used ChatGPT almost every day. Sometimes you use it just even word for word. The output's just fine. You can just make some small tweaks just with the prompts. And that's what we're also finding, is that if we give it a good enough prompt about our business owners' business and what they're offering and their services, that it's able to create quite a good prompt from the get-go. And just with a little bit of fine tuning, it comes out fantastic.
Yeah, it is really amazing. And you're right though. It's not only for text but for images. I don't think I'm far enough along for the on the images side, but I don't really deal as much in images as opposed to the written word. And but I am kind of amazed at your statistic there, 864 million. That kind of reminds me of when with Microsoft, the operating system, DOS or whatever you call it, Windows at the time, and then and it eventually reached like a billion users, and then you had all these applications running on it. And now it's almost the same thing. It sounds like you have kind of this WordPress, and you have all of these sub applications or plugins running on it, and it's kind of interesting to see how the dynamic has kind of shifted over from Microsoft, DOS, Windows, and Apple, of course, and then now over to WordPress, and maybe there's some other similar kinds of applications like that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that, guy. And if you think about it too, isn't that the same way also in the world of AI? Because you got ChatGPT, which is the general AI, and then after that you got the GPT store, where you've got all these people that are building their own custom GPTs if you're a subscriber, and you can have all these like GPT plugins. And even there was a while ago where there was GPT plugins that, like, hey, you can interact with, you can have it browse the internet for you, but now it's been built in and baked in. But then you could also interact with third-party applications like Zapier, or different third parties. And so there's also these so many different software layers that people are building, businesses are building on top of AI. And I think that's going to be so interesting to see where the market goes over the next few months.
Yeah, and I think you're right. It is the next few months. It is going so fast. It's just hard to believe how fast it's going. Now, one of the things that's really critical when building a website, and it doesn't matter, whether you're a small or a large business, is the landing page. And getting the landing page to really match kind of the creative that caused the user to want to click on that link is pretty hard. And so tell us how AI has helped in that area.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're nailing the point on the head there, where, it's really important that, hey, if you're creating, some kind of creative, like, you're doing some meta ads or something, and then after that, you having them click on to the landing page, that creative does need to match, whether the images are. And so what we're seeing, just a very recent rollout from Midjourney, which is one of the AIs that does the images, is that this has been the first AI that has been able to create characters from scratch that you could reuse throughout the different creatives. No
Mm.
other AI has been able to do that. So before, when you would tell the AI, like, hey, create an image with, a man riding on a bicycle. If you wanted to use that same man in a different image, you wouldn't be able to. But Midjourney was the first one, and they just rolled out this feature where you can use that same character in many different images. So now this is such an amazing tool, and you bet you that all the other different AIs are going to be incorporating that feature into their own AI, which is why I was saying earlier that competition is very healthy in this space, because then everybody wins, especially the consumer. So I think that in that point, in terms of, hey, matching the creative is going to be really important when it comes to the landing page.
Yeah, absolutely. And now on the flip side, and there's always in my mind two things. One of them is for a lot of businesses, you're paying the agencies a lot of money to do creative, and now all of a sudden they're able to do the creative what might have taken 2 days or 3 man days now may only take, let's say, a half a man day with AI. And so how does the agency continue to charge at the same level in order to kind of well, just charge at the same level for the same kind of output, yet it's taken them, maybe 30% of the time.
Yeah, I think that the best model for agencies in this space is not to charge on based on how much time it takes them, because if they do, then that they would have to charge less, right? Because now
Mm.
AI is basically causing them to to basically have all these speed improvements. But I think that they should charge based on results. So the AI, I mean, if an agency can use AI to get better results, and hey, they can get you more clients into your business, sure, why wouldn't you want to spend, that same amount of money? It doesn't matter what they're doing. And also, what matters is really like how the agency is using AI. There's all sorts of ways that you can prompt the AI to get different outputs, whether it's from the creative side or even running ads for you, or coming up with different personas or coming up with different ideas. So I think that an agency, to remain competitive, really should talk about, hey, here's the results that we're gonna be bringing to you. And if you agree if this is good to you, then this is how much we're going to be charging. And I think that there's still a very compelling case for agencies to be, charging a good amount of money if they're able to deliver on their results, and that the companies that they're charging, they're happy with the ROI.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's definitely a very different pricing model than potentially where they have been. And I mean, ChatGPT is, or AI, generative AI, is new enough where maybe the client side hasn't quite figured it out, or just starting to figure it out. Because you mentioned competition. If I'm the competitor and I can say, listen, I can take care of all of your social or all of your print creative or all of this or all of that, and I can do it at 30% of the cost, and be, maybe 50% more effective, that's going to be hard for the CMO to turn down. And so there is going to be, I think there has to be pressure on the agencies, or there has to be significant productivity increases on the agencies for them to keep their pricing levels and their staffing levels at the same level.
Yeah, and from my experience too, Guy, is that I haven't seen like where the AI right now is able to get, those excellent results on its own for companies. So we're not there yet. So definitely agencies are still needed. And what we need is really to have agencies who know how to effectively use AI. And then one other thing that they could do is that, hey, yes, you're like you said, maybe they can, bring down their pricing, and then, they take on more clients because of the increased productivity. So that's
Mm.
another small that they can do. So if you're getting increase in speeds and you're able to turn things around much quicker because of 30% enhancements, like you were saying earlier, then sure, that opens up the door for you to open up and to be able to take on more clients, especially that, with the agency model, all that you really need is that, hey, you need, project managers, and you need the people that are doing the work. And basically that's kind of the whole model, how it works. And as long as you're able to bring in revenue to be able to hire more project managers, to take on more clients, and you can hire people to do the work, then you're still in the game.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. So let me get back a little bit more back to we were talking about landing pages, and that is kind of where marketing on the one hand meets the website on the other hand, and it's kind of the left and right, the yin and yang of modern marketing in a digital world, certainly. So, what are some of the key elements of a landing page, and how are you using AI to really improve the conversion rates once they land on your landing page?
Yeah, I love this question because I think, like you, I also have a copywriting background and I love copywriting. So basically, one of the most important things when it comes to landing pages is going to be the above the fold section, because that's going to be the hero section. Some people call it a masthead, but we'll just call it a hero section, which is the very first thing that you see as soon as you click on from the creative, or the very first thing that you see when you go to a website. And over here, I think the number one mistake that I see people making, whether it's the creative or whoever is responsible for the landing page, is not having a compelling headline and not having compelling copy. And so the number one most important thing is the headline, because that's going to be the first thing that they read. And it's going to be important to enter the conversation that is already happening in your prospect's head. So you really need to do a lot of research. And this is where AI could come in, because you want to do a lot of research to find out, hey, you know what? What's really keeping up my customer at night? What are they thinking about? And you want to use that same verbiage and then talk about, the headline. Hey, talk about the benefit and capture that person's attention. And then after that, every single thing, the way that I like to think about it is that it's kind of like a waterfall, and that is like one thing from your landing page is supposed to lead to the next, and it's supposed to capture the person's attention where they want to keep on reading to the next thing and read to the next and read to the next. Once you've lost your prospective clients attention and they stop reading, then that's where that's the problem area. And there's lots of really great tools that help you to see, they're called like heat maps, and areas where you're able to click and they're able to see exactly where it is, the problems that are on the landing page where the copy isn't as good, or maybe the images aren't very compelling, and it causes the people or the person to stop the scroll. So I really recommend that people invest in those kind of tools to also learn, hey, where's the drop off points and how can you increase and make changes. And as you know, of course, there's the whole world of CROs, conversion rate optimizations, and that's a whole sub area of marketing that we can delve into if you want. But it's a very compelling area that also we could use AI in to help us fix those problem areas on the landing page.
Yeah, now one of the things that we've run into and with our clients as well is when using a WordPress site, sometimes those things get to be, you add in a handful of different applications on them and plugins on it, and all of a sudden it takes 10 seconds to even load the homepage. So have you seen that as well? And what do you think needs to be done, or how can the website owner really take that, take control of that problem and get it under, into something that's reasonable from a response rate perspective?
Yeah, 100%. I have seen that, and it happens all the time, Guy, because of the plugins. So kind of think of it like a buffet. Have you ever been to a buffet and you just saw like all this amazing food, and you took just one plate and you just kept on piling this food until you came up and you put the plate, and it's like this small little mountain, right? Well, what's going to
I got to
happen?
interrupt you there. I had a friend one time, there's these lettuce things. They're like little, they're about an inch wide and they're about 4 inches. So he would take his plate and he would surround his plate with those things. So his 10-inch plate became like a 14-inch plate. And he'd fill that up on the buffet. Sorry to interrupt you, but your story there is perfect. And I could
Yeah,
just see. I mean, I remember him coming back, and he had this huge plate of stuff.
that's perfect. He's smart. He's smart
Yeah.
because he knew how to make it bigger, right? But if you don't have those lettuce, little pieces, for the average person, you're gonna come back with a mountain, right, of all this food, and so of course it's gonna take you a longer time to get through it because you have all this food that you piled up. And WordPress is exactly like that. WordPress is like a plate, and the more plugins that you put on top of it, you end up with this mountain. And now, in order to get to the plate, it's gonna take a while to go through the mountain. So really, for our audience, there is no way to get around this. You need to have a technical partner with you who knows what they're doing, because I don't want to get into the technical parts, but the problem is that you have these things called JavaScript that wants to load, and that's what slows it down, and a lot of different ways that JavaScript loads. But it's kind of like being at a buffet and having a plate, and you have all this food. The point is like, hey, you want to only put only the food that you're going to eat right now on your plate, and then save the other stuff for later. And it's exactly the same way with websites. You need to have a technical partner with you that can help you to put only the things that need to load only on that page, and only to the point where they scroll. And then when a person scrolls, then the next part loads in. That way, when a page loads, you're not exhausting all of your resources and making everything be on your plate at the same time. You want to take it slowly. And that's what it is, a technical something that needs to be done by, you know, somebody who has a technical background. And so that's why we recommend that you hire somebody to be in that, you know, in your corner, so to speak, to help you out.
Yeah, absolutely. And because that is hard, and I really like, you know, I always use the analogy, you can only eat an elephant one bite at a time. And so then to your point, even though you want to have a lot of functionality on that page, you don't need to load everything in at the same time until they actually, you know, need it as the page is you know, being scrolled through. Um, Now, some of the other interesting technologies that are coming around are, you know, AR and VR, so augmented reality and virtual reality. How do you see that emerging, changing as we all kind of take on the new, you know, some of the new technology? You know, Apple's got their headset or their iSet. I don't remember what you call it, and I'm sure then there's going to be other ones. But so how do you see all of that kind of unfolding over the next couple of years?
Yeah, you know what, a guy, I love this because I really am lusting after a pair of those Apple goggles, you know, the VR headsets. They're $3,500. I'm like, should I really justify it? You know what I mean? I'm like, I love a new toy, and I could probably go and buy it if I wanted to. But I've seen a lot of YouTube videos about how it's being used, and actually the YouTube videos you're able to see actually inside the goggles, inside the VR headset, and it's incredible what Apple's really done with their headset, because they're the first one that's really merged like productivity, where you're able to get on your MacBook and you're able to open up different apps and stuff like that, and be able to get all of your data and actually, you know, interact with it just using like gestures, and just by looking with your eyes, and just, you know, doing the clicks like this. So they've had tremendous success from what I've seen. Everybody that I've seen on YouTube that has given the Apple headset a review really has had nothing to say except for like phenomenal things. This is really technology where they're on the forefront, and they've really done something very, very special with the way that they're using AI, VR, and the technology to merge those areas. So I think we're gonna go into the next arenas, next areas where, hey, you know what? Traditionally, you used to use a PC or a Mac, and you had a keyboard and a monitor. But what if you could put on a headset, and you can go and see your files, and you can collaborate with avatars with your team? You know, hey, you're in Atlanta, I'm in LA, maybe, you know, working together. You know, hey, we put on a headset and we just meet in a virtual world, you know, and we're drinking Starbucks in a virtual cafe, and we can, you know, do some collaboration. I think that's what's coming up, and I think that's what's going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to be as fast as AI when it comes to VR and AR, because the problem with VR and AR is the hardware,
Mm.
and that it's cost a lot of money. And we still need faster processors to be able to integrate virtual environments with our current environment at the moment. So the technology is still quite some time away. So we're not going to see as fast iterations in this space as we are seeing in AI. But nevertheless, it is a very interesting space to follow, and we should be seeing some strides and improvements over the next few years.
Yeah, I've seen some YouTubes like you're talking about, and it is really impressive. And you know, one thing that Apple does is they really do get the design and the user interface and the user experience right. You know, I was always a friend of mine was one of the early users of the Google Glass. You know, so the augmented reality on there, and I mean, it was interesting. It was definitely a good experiment, and I would imagine Google learned a lot from that. But given that that was maybe what, 5 years ago, maybe more, and goggles have come out, but you don't see any like Google Glass replacements. It's all now really goggles. So it seems like now Apple is definitely moving in the right direction with this with their new goggles. So yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, I think Apple did a good job learning from Google's mistakes, and they were able to iterate and make things better. And like you said, they really nail it down. So they're slower to the market. They're not going to be the first to the market, but when they come to the market, you know that they're going to come up with something really good.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So let's see. Let's talk a little bit about just generally AI and your business. How have you seen businesses using AI or more? Let's stick with marketers. How have you seen marketers using AI to really drive their businesses forward?
Yeah, the number one way that I've seen marketers use AI in their business is with creating ads for their clients. A lot of times, now what used to take, days and, having to, they think about, where they want to come from. They now are able to create different headlines. And also, Guy, I'm sure you've seen this too in your business where the actual, wherever you're running your ads, let's say it's Meta or LinkedIn or whatever, now they're incorporating AI in their platforms where before you used to have to like, oh, I need to create all these different ad sets so I can create all test all these different audiences. And you'd have to spend hours at a time, or whoever it is that's doing that on your team would have to spend hours on time testing all these different audiences because you don't know which one's going to be the winner. And you want to always have a control. And and you want to try to always beat the control. But now you don't have to do that anymore, even on the platforms themselves with Google, Meta, LinkedIn, any of those places. They're just like, hey, give us your ads and let us just run with it. And we're going to test it on all the different audiences. And we're going to test it on, or the relevant audiences, I should say. And we're going to test also, the different headlines for you and everything. And we'll tell you the winner. So now it's just like, wow, that's taken so much of the hard work out of it. So I love that marketers have that ability to create it. One of the ways that I like to use it, because I love copywriting and I do have a background in copywriting. So one of my favorite copywriters was Gary Halbert. So I love reading his stuff. So now when I was first experimenting with AI, I created, had to create for me like a little landing page. And then I took the landing page and I said, hey, rewrite this landing page in the tone of Gary Halbert. And you know what? It understood it and it rewrote it for me. And when I read it, because I was so familiar with this stuff, I was like, wow, this actually does sound like Gary Halbert. And so you can actually like whoever it is that you want to emulate, you can actually do that if that's something that you want to do. You want, hey, I want right in the tone of Tony Robbins, right in the tone of, whoever it is, Eugene Schwartz, and you'll get AI to rewrite it for you. I don't know if that's infringing upon copyrights because if their works are available publicly on the internet, well, then they're available publicly. The AI didn't do anything wrong by going and reading this stuff on the internet. But as long as if it was behind a paywall, then that's a different story. And I think that's why there's some court cases that we're going to be seeing coming up shortly about AI and the different cases that are different companies suing each other.
Yeah, and I interviewed another gentleman about AI and some of the legal aspects, and the one court case with the New York Times was such that they forced AI by continuing to change and change and change the prompt until like after 20 30 different times it finally spit out that one sentence that was then a direct copy from the New York Times. And and so that's not, I mean, yes, of course you could do that, but the original prompt and the original sequence of results based on what they were trying to do was nowhere near what was happening. And I think, based on some of the other conversations that I've had, is that there is not a copyright challenge, because the AI is taking, it's kind of doing an average, a statistical something or other to it, and it's only if you really, really, really force it in 20, 30 times do you maybe get to a point where you're taking word for word something from Tony Robbins or Hubbard or whoever it happens to be that you're trying to emulate. But
Yeah.
that's actually an interesting point is using AI to give you a different voice there. And I think that's definitely something to think about. One of the things that I've learned with, and I appreciate, what you're talking about, is I've learned so much from these interviews that, it's just fascinating. And so I appreciate your thinking on, using someone else's voice there.
Yeah, absolutely, guy. And then, I have what I haven't tried, and I just got the idea as you were talking right now. It's like I wonder if you what happens if you try to take like copy and you try to merge different people. I say, hey, rewrite this in the stone of like let's say Tony Robbins and Hubbard, or whoever it is. I've never tried that, but that would be a very interesting prompt. But there is a book that I read or I listened to a few years ago called "Steal Like an Artist." And I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but basically the author of the book is saying, he's like, listen, everything that's under the sun has already been done. He's like, so there's really nothing new or creative that's not been already done before. So the best thing that you could do is to get inspired by different people, but don't just go and get inspired by one person and go and then recopy what they did. That's going to be plagiarism. But instead, go and get inspired by maybe 4 or 5 different people and then create your own mix together out of those 4 or 5 different things. And then out comes a new original that has received inspiration elsewhere. And now that's, the iterative. And he's like, that's what, artists have done historically. And that's what the best artists continue to do today. And so that's kind of the premise of the book. And it was a very fascinating read. And the author really does make a compelling case.
I don't know if you reminded me of Star Trek, and I don't know if you were a Star Trek fan, but Data, the robot or I don't know, the cyborg or whatever you want to call him, he was trying to learn how to play the violin. And of course, he was perfect, right from the start. And he then told himself, and he was complaining to Picard. He said, well, all I've done is I've just copied what other people do. I can play in the style of this or in the style of that. And my most recent try or my most recent recording was to combine, just like you said, I combined the style of this guy and this guy and this guy. And Picard said, well, that's a whole new style. So yes, of course you invented something new. And so to your point, if you will write the landing page or the website copy or whatever based on the style of combining Tony Robbins and Hubbard and Guy Powell and Peter Gerges, then you are absolutely going to come up with something that's perfectly new. So yeah, I definitely like that. That's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, and that's definitely some of the things that we do. Something even for our website designs, we'll go and take a look at like, some get inspiration from different website design places that we know, and we'll take a look at like, hey, 5 or 6 different websites that we really like, and then hey, we'll take a little bit from this, a little bit from that, and a little bit from this other one, and then we come together, create a brand new mix, and out comes out something original, and it looks nothing like any of the ones that we received inspiration from. But out comes something that's really beautiful and something that our client really love. So there is something to say about, getting inspiration, but just mixing it from these different sources.
Yeah, absolutely. So, unfortunately, we're coming to a close here, but I do want to ask you one other question, and that is, so what advice would you give an up-and-coming new marketer?
Yeah, absolutely. I think an up and coming new marketer, I think definitely with the rise of AI, is that you don't want to ignore AI. I think that right now, where the market is taking us is that we still need marketers, and we need marketers who know how to use AI in their business. So it's definitely, hey, get caught up on AI, go and find the best sources. Definitely, you can start out on YouTube, just research, some of the great YouTube channels that are covering AI and covering it from a marketing perspective. See where you can learn and how to use the art of prompt engineering to get the best output from AI and start using that in your business. And I think that your clients are going to thank you for it. And it's going to be definitely a game changer.
Yeah, so just curious, do you have any books that you would recommend or websites that you would recommend on learning, I don't know if you call it prompt engineering or prompt design, any thoughts to help out our listeners on that?
I do. And I love that you asked about that. So I would definitely recommend do not buy any books in this area because they'll become very obsolete very quickly. So definitely steer away from that. Definitely go with online. Also, courses I think are going to be hard to do because you know what? Even by the time that a course comes, there's going to be so many rapid changes in AI that person has to stay and re-record, you know, newer stuff. So only if somebody's committed to doing that, then you can go ahead and do that and you know, buy a course or something. But I like YouTube very much and following channels that keep on, you know, staying up to date. And one of the ones that I really like is a gentleman by the name of Matt Wolf. So
Hmm.
Matt Wolf covers, you know, AI and seems like you're familiar with him, guy. So he does a great job covering AI and he covers it from a marketing perspective. He's a marketer himself. He's got maybe a 500,000 subscribers at the time of this recording. Very popular guy, does a fantastic job. I highly recommend that you follow him. That would be a great place to start. And then I'm looking for similar channels because after you start watching his channels, YouTube will automatically start, you know, recommending, you know, YouTube videos in the sidebar. Look at those too. And hey, you know what? You're going to go down a rabbit hole and you'll have plenty of stuff to keep for the next months.
Yeah, yeah. So should I use ChatGPT to help me to prompt my prompts?
Yeah, pretty much. You know, that's exactly.
Exactly. Well, design me a prompt that'll develop a landing page and fashion it after you know, this guy. What was it, Matthew Wolf?
Yeah, Matthew Wolf is the great AI marketer that you know, that does copies or he covers, pardon me,
Yeah.
all the marketing stuff. So he's really good.
Absolutely. Well, I'll definitely look at that. That's great advice. Really appreciate it. Well, with that, then, Peter, I hate to say it, we've got to come to a close, but thank you so much. Where would you like to, for the listeners to go to find out more about you and your company?
Yeah, absolutely. So the best place to connect with us if you're interested in learning more about us is that you can go to swiftpresssupport.com. That's swiftpresssupport.com. And you can get all of our contact information and love to connect with you and learn more about your business.
Fantastic. Peter, thank you so much. That's swiftpresssupport.com. So anyway, for our listeners, please stay tuned for many other videos in this series of the backstory on marketing and AI. And otherwise, please visit marketingmachine.prorelevant.com to learn more about my book, The Post-COVID Marketing Machine. Peter, thank you so much. It's really been very enjoyable.
Thanks so much, Kai. I had such an amazing time and I'm looking forward to connecting with you in the future.
Absolutely.